go for it. This is Nightmare again with Twisted Nightmare Gaming, and we're back with another deck, Pokemon deck profile. This time we got Zack from West Orange Comics and Games.
What's happening?
And he's gonna profile what deck today, man?
This is my Rayquaza Dragonite, so I'll just call it Rayquaza and Friends for now.
All right.
Yeah. So this is my cookie cutter. Basically, I run a little bit of a different scope than most people who run. So basically, the bread and butter of the deck is these guys right here. So Rayquaza obviously has an ability. It's called Stormy Winds. Whenever he comes into play, discard the top 3 from your deck. When you do, take any energy that's a grass or electric basic from there, and then put it into attached to him. So he has the ability, obviously, to load very quickly with 1 or 2 energy from hand. Grubbin, what evolves into Vikavolt. I don't run Charge-a-Bug just because if you look at anybody who runs this deck, they always run Rare Candy into Vikavolt. And basically what this does is it says for every once during your turn, if you have 2 Vikavolts in play or 1, I'm able to search my deck for 1 grass energy and 1 electric energy and attach it to any Pokemon in any way I like. So obviously being to load Rayquaza, the more grass and electric that's on the field, the more he has to operate. He only needs 3 to go, so it's not smart to obviously load 1 guy with like 50 energy if you don't have to. So it's also good that when Rayquaza dies, this is kind of his low health pool being at 180. He's one-shottable very often, but most decks in current meta standard right now usually take turn 2, turn 3 to operate. So if you can get him off turn 1 and still have your Grubbins down, you have a pretty good way to go. But most people play this deck very one way. I try to have a little bit of extra spice to the deck. So for me, of course, I run the 1 Tapu instead of 2. I run a baby Tapu instead. Now this is if I have a mirror match and I have to run against another Rayquaza. I just attach a Choice Band to it. Rayquaza operates at 3 energy. So if I attach 1 Choice Band and then use this move Psywave for 1, all I have to do is just hit him 1 time and it's enough to directly KO Rayquaza. So in my personal opinion, I think this is the strongest deck in meta right now. Like there's a lot of stuff that people are playing, but every Nightmare match that I've ever had where I'm just like, damn, I regret living, it's been against Rayquaza. So I definitely really like this deck. I think it operates for no mana at all. Energy at all. It definitely, even though I run the deck with a lot, so I run 5 electric energies, 7 grass energies, 2 rainbow energies, and 1 water energy. And the reason why for this is because of this derpy guy right here. So I have a personal inkling and kind of favoritism to Dragonite. They never really gave him much of a chance in any of the games or the series. He never got anything good except for this card, so I definitely like this card just because of 2 reasons. One, the other card that I used to play instead of this was the Garchomp combo, being because Garchomp hits for 200 with a Cynthia. If you attach a Choice Band to him, that's 230. Pretty much almost any Pokemon that's in standard meta right now, 230 is a pretty big clap play. Like that's definitely a one-shot. So for me, I think it's good, but the drasticness of also having free retreat cost is disgusting. So you can actually just put him first all the time and then just retreat for free. So it helps out your rare candy situation, it helps out your escape rope situation, and also your Guzma, so you can leave your supporter open to not have to use him. I think the viability was really good. It's just the health pool of Garchomp is really small at like 150, so it leaves some clappable range for sure. But Dragonite being at 250, he's very swole. It's going to take a lot just to get him down, so he's definitely a 2-shotter, not a 1-hitter KO'er most of the time. So for me, he's really good protection against Rayquaza. Also, they're both dragon types, so I was running Latios in the beginning, which lets me charge all of my dragons on base, who are basic with an energy, so it was an easier way to load him and him just in case if I flopped on my first turn. So Dragonite, just because of the tech play, if I have to go first and I have someone to sacrifice, which usually in this deck I usually have someone between these 3 to sacrifice, the sacrificial lamb always has to do something. So obviously this one does something, these 2 do something. So what does this do? Wrap actually essentially just paralyzes, which is nice because I'm forcing you to either Guzma or to run an escape rope or something that's going to get them out of play, meaning you can't retreat just by discarding energy when you're paralyzed. So I think it's super important that I use this Dratini early on, so if I don't have my first hand in my setup, but I can get the Dratini down, I'm not so much worried about the Dragonite because now I can slump my Grubbins out and get my Rayquaza on play. So if I do have, by some chance, not the ability to be able to Tempest, this is the reason why Dratini's here, is because I can potentially paralyze the active opponent and then make them kind of sit out on a round, even though they have opportunity to load, opportunity to slam for any kind of hit. So for me, this is just my way of dealing with it, but also adding my little spice to it because I love Dragonite and I don't feel like anybody gave him enough love. Giga Impact also swings for 200, but it makes sure that he can't hit next turn. So again, if I have 2 Dragonites down, one swings for 200, I whip the next one in, he swings for 200. It's kind of just like fair game to say anything that's usually against him is usually dead. Attaching a choice band to him is also super smart, so now he's hitting for 230. It's a really, really hard play. I mean, like, even against Fairy, I still have somewhat of a chance at a Sylveon hitting me for 110. I still only get 220 dealt to me, and even with the choice band, it's really situational if I field blower it or something like that to where I can put him in presence. So for the Pokemon, that's pretty much the standard bread and butter. I don't believe in running 2 Tapu Lele just because even if this gets prized, I like to, challenge myself to have something else in the deck that can get me around, and that's why I like Dragonite here. Just like with the Vikavolt, he can also be loaded. So if the Rayquaza is the bad play to play at the time, I can literally curve my deck completely one other way and play this way, and then counter with the Tapu. So against another Rayquaza player, this is king, but against Zoroark or anything else, this is where I like to tend to go out. I like playing Rayquaza against Rayquaza or against anything else that's not Zoroark or Garbodor. So for me, this is kind of where my Pokemon lineup is. My supporter chain is I run 3 Cynthias, 1 Steven's Resolve, 1 Lily. These are my turn 1 options if it's not a Judge. So recently I teched in Judge, but it's only just because, again, if I'm playing against another Rayquaza, he Tempest turn 1, I like to be able to favorite out that option and basically pass it off to the side. Field Blower being a 2 of just because getting anything out of the play that I need to is really crucial. Ultra Ball having 3 of just so I can search anything I need to, as well as Mysterious Treasure to discard 1 to either get the Dragonite that I'm missing, the Dratini that I'm missing, or the Rayquaza, so that's super important. Ultra Balls I pretty much only feed for the Vikavolt Rubbit. Rare Candies obviously just to be able to evolve these or those into their counterpart. Rainbow Brush for the 1 tech just because obviously every grass energy and every electric energy is super crucial, and some of my Pokemon, i.e. Dragonite and Tapu Lele, have a weird mana curve, so having the rainbow energy in play is super pivotal, but also having a way to be able to take the rainbow back into the deck so another Pokemon can use it is also super crucial. So running more than 1 is just kind of a nuisance though, so I just do 1 just as the tech, and that's also a throwaway card if I need it to be. Escape Rope just because it's safer than running Guzma sometimes. I actually like making the person choose because then sometimes my Guzma is a little bit more of a threat, or they think I'm going to Escape Rope into Guzma when really I'll just play something else. Choice Band being a 2 of tech just because most of the time everybody's going to run this, but if they're not, it's a good card for me to throw away. Having 3 just seems like it's unnecessary. Volkner 2 of is really, really important just for me to be able to get the rare candy if I don't have it, plus the electric energy for me to be able to lift off. Treasure is great just because I can search the Tapu Lele or the Rayquaza or the Dragonite. I mean, it's pretty much anything I need it to be. Energy Recycle System, I prefer this over Recycler just because I can either choose 1 to go to hand, which if I need it for the Tempest or something else, I can still throw away without having the burden of, oh shit, I just threw away my energy. Also, shuffling 3 into my deck is really nice because Vikavolt Strong Charge goes off of 2, so that means that I can guarantee myself at least 2 rounds of a Strong Charge if I need it be. Rescue Stretcher, obviously, to put 1 of these back in my hand. Running 1 of it as a tech is really scary. I learned recently I might want to run to a 2, but I preferred this set just because I know there's 1 Rescue Stretch, and if I don't see it on my first search with the deck, I can kind of rule out a play that I need that card, and now I kind of play a more conscientious way. So Weakness Policy is another card that I kind of just mess with because I like the tech of the weak in there. I usually have to play Sylveon or some kind of Fairy, which is the one deck that I think I struggle the most with, so having Weakness Policy in there helps me tech against the Sylveon for Rayquaza on turn 1. Again, the Dragonite's not so scary either whenever I have Weakness Policy on him too instead of the Choice Band. So I can still hit, Sylveon with a Choice Band if I need to. If not, 200 is definitely fair enough damage. So this is my deck for sure. If you guys are interested or have any other questions, definitely hit me up on Instagram, Doomsday407, all one word, and then Twitch /Doomsday Plays is my channel. I got some stuff going on Wednesday too for a 24-hour stream for like a welcome back to Pokemon, so definitely check that out, and definitely give this this post a like and a share, and let everybody know Pokemon's for real.
All right, again, this is Nightmare, Twisted Nightmare Gaming. This is Zack with over at West Orange Comics and Games, and he just finished his deck profile for Pokemon. You guys have a good day.
Yeah.